And Are You Okay is a not safe for work podcast, so any young listeners are discouraged from continuing. However, we literally have no way to track that, so do whatever the hell you want and enjoy the show.
So then you should go last because I only have one. All right. I find it hilarious how Matthew McConaughey 1000% stole that from Kevin Hart, but we just kind of just give it to him.
He put some Southern charm on it and stole it right from him.
Yeah, took it right from him. That's why it was so funny. It's like, oh shit, he watches Kevin Hart, and then it just became his thing.
Rude.
I guess when you're a comedian, your jokes are only as memorable as your last special, and he's done so much shit since
Fair
then.
Enough. Yeah, Aziz Ansari hasn't yelled at me in years, so how am I supposed to know if he's relevant or not?
Exactly.
Oh wait, he got canceled.
Exactly.
I don't know. Whatever. Who hasn't at this point?
Well, what is cancel culture really? Hey, what is cancel?
A topic
culture
for
really?
A show that's not this one.
The range.
You are listening to And Are You Okay?
A Star Wars podcast.
A Star Wars podcast. I am your host, Mikey.
The human holocron.
Thank
Darth
you.
Plagueis the Wise himself.
Oh, thank you, Matt. And I am here with my guy, Matthew Porter, Rogue One.
Checking in, baby. Smack Talker, Skywalker, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm here. And I'm excited.
Kenobi and Brogeta.
And Brogeta, bro. The cohesion.
The range that you have.
Smack Talker Skywalker, brother.
I don't think we don't have a real talk with Rogue One this week, do we?
No. This is all fun and games. This one.
Fun and games. I see what you did there.
You see what I did there?
As we get deeper into the episode, I'm gonna just throw a spoiler warning in here because somehow they find a way
every time,
always get into these episodes. And before we hyper dive into things, we got a special announcement.
We do.
My better half,
me,
fiance, my better third, and Ray would be like, "Yeah, he can be a third."
Yeah, 1000%.
Because we just love you so much, Ray the Ruiner.
I love you guys too.
For her stint with us covering Ahsoka, she got nominated by the Gamehers.
Yes.
Ray the Ruiner has been nominated for PodcastHER of the Year for the Game-Her Awards. I could not be more proud of
well-deserved
significant other, my partner in crime. She, I have watched her grow from a Padawan all the way into a Jedi Master. I think she would come out here and say, I am no Jedi, just to show her prowess. Girl has a Star Wars tattoo. I don't have a Star Wars tattoo.
She definitely would say, I am no Jedi. That would be her response.
She has embedded on her sleeve, in her skin, in her blood. Ray the Ruiner, we are so proud of you.
You next up, bro. I got mine. I got my Rebel Alliance tattoo, bro. You gotta get one, bro.
Some Star Wars ink on me. I have to get ink on me, period, to begin with. So
there you go.
Maybe we'll figure it out. But anyways, I just wanted to super shout out to her. We are campaigning for her to potentially win this award.
Shout out to the Gamehers. Shout out to our friends over at the Gamehers.
We actually, on our sister podcast, Dragon Ball for Life, have interviewed quite a few members of the Gamehers.
Yeah, man, quite a few.
Producer at the Gamehers, she, is very embedded in what's going on there. So,
Caustic Phoenix. She does work over there at the Gamehers. I believe Taser. Shout outs to Taser. I believe she does some stuff over there too. Miso, throwback name. From our time at another company.
Covering Andor.
The Andor World Tour, baby.
yeah, shout out to all the women content creators, but a special shout out to our female content creator that has graced us with her presence. Before we did Ahsoka, she's on a few other episodes, but it's always great getting the female perspective. I could not be happier that the first accolade our podcast has ever gotten is a nomination that is going to her. It is well deserved.
That it is.
Just, go vote for her. We'll put links in the descriptions. We'll be posting all about it. Follow us at Annie, ANIRUOK pod.
That's Star Wars podcast.
Instagram. We'll get that out of the way now so we don't have to do it later.
Big facts. But I'm super hyped for her. I'm hyped.
Yeah.
I'm hyped. There's a bit of friendly competition because there's another female who's associated with us closely who was also nominated.
Is it our good friend Yali?
No.
Is it?
Miss Majin herself has also been nominated based off her stint on our sister podcast, Dragon Ball FO Life.
This is incredible. It's conflicting interests. If either of them win, I will be absolutely.
Give it to both of them. Give it to both of them. You know what? While on this podcast, give it to Ray the Ruiner. I'm biased while here. Rogue One is biased on here. When I go back over there, I'm gonna switch up.
I'm contractually obligated to be biased, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't even more biased. Ray the Ruiner's got pink.
I'm not 100% sure if they're in the same category, but both of them being nominated is very exciting, and I feel like it's a great sign of things to come for both of our nerd-loving endeavors that we have embarked on as a family, as a tandem.
We can't
as a nerddom.
Members and our female contributors are huge,
huge,
driving us forward. So, thank you to all of them, and go check out the PodcastHER awards. That'll be a fun.
It's gonna be exciting. I know we better get some free tickets. I know that.
It's out there. Vote for them women.
Right, we know some nominees. We should get free tickets.
Yeah, can I cast my vote in person?
All right, yeah, facts. Can I read? Can I read the envelope? Can I read the nominees?
Put my thing up and be like, "Hooray, the Ruiner!"
Hooray! You gotta have the fin sounder. You gotta have the fin sounder. And the winner is the Ruiner.
Well, Ray, I love you dearly. Miss Majin, good luck against someone who I would say is
stiff competition.
Pretty stiff competition. All right, so let's now officially hyper dive right in to our topic today. Matt, post Disney acquisition, there have been quite a few hits and misses, but a clear want and need for more Star Wars video games. Today, we're going to pitch an idea for a Star Wars video game that we would like to see made in the coming years. I have two. I know you have one, so I'm going to hand it off to you first.
I'm
spare
excited.
no detail.
I got you. So I'm trying to think if I want to just like smack you with my idea or if I want to slow walk you to the mountain, because you can't rush on your way to Babylon. You gotta take your time. Salvation is is earned. It's not just given. So
building a day.
Exactly. We'll slow walk it. So I'll set the scene. So my game that I would create, it would be set in the time of the Clone Wars, like peak Clone Wars time, like the animated show era of the Clone Wars.
Would it be in the style of the animated show?
I would love that. That'd be dope. I'd be cool. I'd be cool with that. I'd be cool with it being the style of the show and or the style of the game that I'm about to mention. So I am 100% plagiarizing a game in its totality. I didn't pull inspiration from it. I'm literally stealing the game and just dropping Star Wars onto it.
You're putting a Star Wars skin on an already beloved game.
Yes, literally. That's literally what I'm doing. I'm putting a Star Wars skin on an already beloved game. So I will say over the years, this franchise isn't as beloved as it once was because there's like a million different installments at this time. But the play that it gave us in the early 2000s, the play that it allowed us to, the fun that it allowed us to experience, especially with a relative, a cousin, a friend, a sibling, because it was a 2-player game. Not only was it a 2-player game, it was a 2-player campaign game. So you could play the story with an ally. You didn't have to go it alone. So the game that I would want created, and it would have to be in the Clone Wars because I feel like the battles would be epic. I would want a Dynasty Warriors Star Wars game set in the Clone Wars.
I love this idea. The amount of planets you could play on, obviously, definitely some clone commanders or Jedi heroes.
Pick your warrior. Pick your, and if for those who might be younger in viewership or those who might have missed the game, because I do feel like Dynasty Warriors has like a cult fan base. It was like super popular, but like if you didn't know it existed, you didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. You know,
that's true. You know,
So for Dynasty Warriors, for the uninitiated, it's an open world-esque combat, like MMO fighter game, and you essentially pick a character, and it's set during like feudal Japan, and there are cutscenes and storylines, but the story is pretty much driven forward in like narrative, which kind of fits the Star Wars skin. It just kind of move forwards in like a narrative storytelling of like, oh, this person betrayed this person, and a giant battles ensues, and then you literally just get dropped inside of a giant free-for-all battle where the goal is to literally kill everyone on the enemy side until your morale, which is typically blue, is all the way to the other side, and your enemy's morale is red, and if they get it all the way to one side, you lose. And I just think that would be a fire Clone Wars game, and you could literally just have like all the major and minor and everything in between battles just be each level. And I would want it to start from the time that the Clone Wars began. So like, fuck it, the first board can be the Battle of Geonosis. That could be the literal first level. That's how the game's gonna start. It'll be the Battle of Geonosis, and then everything from that point would just be like all the battles of importance that have raised on through the Clone Wars. So, you know, you would get to pick your fighter. Obviously, if you did the campaign mode, it would have to be based off of who was actually on the battlefield. But I would like you to be able to pick from an array of people who were there. So you don't necessarily got to pick Anakin or Mace or Ahsoka. You could pick Cody or Rex or Fives. You could pick any of the clone troopers, you know, anybody out there. And I just feel like that chaos would be amazing in the form of a Star Wars game. Just all these blaster bolts flying and just a bunch of lightsabers swirling around. And I like I said, no inspiration here. I would literally just smack Star Wars over top of Dynasty Warriors. Keep the gameplay exactly the same.
Done before.
With Gundam Wing.
Dynasty Warriors.
So
I have played Gundam Dynasty Warriors. I was a big fan of that. Recently, Fire Emblem 3 Heroes or Three Hopes or whatever is like a Fire Emblem take on the Dynasty Warriors formula where like combo hits or something. I think that's in Dynasty Warriors as well, but like there's an emphasis on like, you know, can you reach 1,000 hits? Like once you hit that point, or you like
build up your meter?
2,000. Exactly. All these specials, and I feel like everyone has a unique move set. There's different classes of characters you can play as.
You can change weapons. I think I know it's not like a 1-to-1 like how they did with Gundam Dynasty Warriors, but there is like a One Piece Dynasty Warriors style of game. I think it's not like a 1-to-1 like how the Gundam Dynasty Warriors was literally Dynasty Warriors with just mechs. There's a One Piece version of that, but I know it's more heavily geared towards like the story, because I think it's just playing out One Piece on the show. It's just like, but when the battles happen, it's in like Dynasty Warriors-esque style of fighting, which I've always been a fan of. That just button mashing, running around, fucking shit up.
I think also the Clone Wars is the perfect time period for it because there's so many battles we know of. Like don't get me wrong, obviously the original trilogy is like it's also a war that's being fought, but I think that like in the Clone Wars there's so many different landscapes that you could go to. The battle on Umbara that happens in season 4 could be super fun.
The Siege of Mandalore. You know,
that would have to be the finale of the game, I feel like.
I would imagine.
So or maybe the finale of the game is you storming the Jedi Temple as
that has to be in that board. Shout outs to the Star Wars Episode 3 video game we talked about last week, because that board you do get to play like an imagined fleshed out version of Anakin wrecking shit through the temple, and you get to F shit up, which was fun. I actually like that board. That actually is probably my favorite board in that game, outside of the Obi-Wan fight at the end.
It's a lot. There's a lot of cool things in that video game. It was ahead of its time for a movie adjacent release, which we know are usually pretty awful. That game's pretty fun.
Yeah, very, very much so. Very much so. But that's my pitch. Like I said, I would literally keep it as exactly as it is. Shit, even with the mounts, you could just swap out horses for speeders. You know, the elephants could be like the Clone Wars Starcrafts. You know, they probably would have to, you know, like limit how high you could go to keep it fair. You know, keep them hovering a bit. Just have a little bit up off the ground. But yeah, I just feel like it literally perfectly just kind of fits like what Star Wars would be. Like,
oh hell yeah, I would definitely play it. I mean, it's one of those games where it's really easy to just pick up and put down. You don't have to like
1000%.
It's more fun than there are some games I feel like gamers like to be stressed out a little bit, and there's like a healthy challenge aspect, which I totally understand, and sometimes I'm in the mood for it. But there's always times where I'm just like, I just want to sit here and kill stuff, and that is the perfect game for it. So I would be all about Star Wars Dynasty Warriors. They would have to call it like Galactic Warriors.
Dynasty Wars.
Yeah. Oh, Dynasty Wars. That's
there you go.
That's better.
Wow. I mean, but yeah, that shit. Right. I feel like that would be dope. I
got two ideas.
Give them to me. Give them to me, Daddy-O.
I'm gonna give you my really niche one, and then the one that I'm like, if they made this game, I think it might be my favorite Star Wars game that they ever make. So the really niche idea I have, and it really comes from a love that you resparked, Matthew Porter, resparked me.
Hey.
Way back when you were first on and we asked you your first fan questions, you told me about your experience, your favorite Star Wars memory being at the arcade playing the Star Wars Pod Racer game.
Yes.
And so it inspired me to, on Xbox Game Pass, the Star Wars Pod Racing game was free, and I was like, I'm going to download it. And I played the shit out of it.
Let's
and I
go.
Was like, I may not be getting wind blowing in my face, but I've never actually like played all of the races, because when I was 6, I could not comprehend the N64 controller on an adult level. And so I was finally, able to go through and do everything, but the game felt quite limited. And then I started thinking to myself, there's like fuel to a fire here. Every console that releases, I feel like, gets launched with a new Forza. And there's the customization aspects of building your special car, making it yours, having like the identity of your car be something that is so crucial to that game. Feels like it could translate really well to a pod racer. I would just love to play a game where you have this autonomy to do all these different customization options. I'm talking like Armored Core level customization, but for a racer. And I think that they could really do something special with that. It could be realistic style or stylized. And then just fucking send you down all these different tracks. There's so many levels in the N64 one that you could recreate. And then there's also all of these other planets that I think are ripe for Star Wars pod racing. And so I would just love to be able to kind of like go in. You could do like a whole story mode with it where you're like an up and coming racer. Or you could just have a fun free for all. That game didn't really get to see its multiplayer peak, because back in those days there was no online gaming. So I would just love to see what it'd be like to go up against maybe like 7 or 9 other people in an arena like that.
I love that. Yeah, that'd be fire. Like yeah, that'd be super dope. I'd be here for that.
Like, can you think about it like the decals? You put like pinup girls on your engine, and then like like change the color of the like electrical current that's like connecting the pods and stuff like that, or even like customizing your racer a little bit. Like throw in, I want customization where we're like weird kinds of aliens, like Sebulba and
I would even fuck with the storyline being on some like, you start off as like a street pod racer. You gotta like earn your way into like the circuit. On some Need for Speed type time. I love that. That'd be dope. Yeah, that'd be super dope. Yeah, I'd fuck with that heavy. Man, they need to, when these games come out, we need our royalty checks, bro.
That's one I just feel like I'm surprised it hasn't been done yet. They've done so many of these other things. I guess now will maybe be a good time to spark this idea for me. There's this game. It's like battle. It's not a battle royale. It's definitely like a Overwatch type game where there's characters in it, and it's a shooter. It's arena based, and it's called Star Wars Hunters. And it released in Australia in 2022. It is now 2024. It's getting all these updates. I saw that there's a huge like skin update coming out for it, and it's not released in the US yet. And I'm just like, what's going on here?
It's a third person. It's like on some Fortnite type time.
Yeah, it's third person. Looks
dope.
kind of like Fortnite, even stylized quite like that. It's like a slightly cartoonish style, but there's a Mando. There's two Jawas that stand on each other as a character. Hey. There's an Ugnaught who like retrofitted a droideka, and he's one of the characters. There's a heavy stormtrooper, a droid that thinks it's a Jedi. Yeah, like there's some cool characters. I'm like, I definitely want to play it when it comes out, but it just hasn't released in the US, and it's getting updates in all these other countries, and it looks fun as fuck. But
that does sound fun as fuck.
I digress. I have not been able to play it, so that's what sparked this idea of there are other video game ideas that are, untouched in this new era of Star Wars video games. So I'll dive into, I would say, the game that I would really, really like to be made.
The main event.
The main event, if you will. I've been playing a lot of Diablo 4 recently, and to me, the top-down action RPG genre has not quite been perfected by Diablo 4, but there's a lot of games coming out like it. And what really inspired this idea is that just the combat itself and the different classes of characters you can play, while modeled after certain classes that you would regularly see in something like D&D, where it's like barbarian, rogue, sorcerer, necromancer, all that stuff. I think that there is ripe for the pickings equivalents in Star Wars that could be really fun to play as, and the action RPG element. There are so many creatures, factions, just different types of things that you could tell a really fun and compelling story with that arcade style top down, just like all of these different skills that you could, I don't care if you're making a Jedi, a Sith, a bounty hunter, a smuggler, you could even be a Night Sister resurrecting fucking people from the ground, and just have all these cool fun sense. Like playing mechanics in the Star Wars universe. And then typically in Diablo, there wasn't a huge customization element in its first couple entries, but in this new one, there are tons of cool skins you can add to your character. And just thinking about it from kind of like the MMO standpoint of how much customization you can put into your characters, that's always something that I really like about video games. And I felt like Diablo 4 had a really good mix of aesthetic and play. And I'd love to see Star Wars adapt some of that. I think they got really close with Jedi Survivor, but you're kind of locked into being Cameron Monaghan. Nothing against him. We love him here.
Great guy.
This is a great character.
Still waiting for him.
But I'd love to have this flesh out in an era of Star Wars that maybe is untouched. So maybe go 1,000 years past the Skywalker saga. Or hell, throw it in the Old Republic era or the High Republic era, since it's so, kind of like unexplored. I think there's a lot that we could do there. So I think that there's just a lot of fun that could be had to do an action RPG with a bunch of different character play styles that you really get to call your own by min-maxing it and doing all sorts of fun stuff to just really have some fun there.
Yeah, you know what else I think would be cool? Like, along with that, I love that idea. I know I'm not the biggest Diablo fan, so I'll say this. I like watching people play Diablo. Like that, I'd be like, oh, this is lit as fuck. But I was one of the ones that didn't like Final Fantasy until they let you start fighting. Like, that's when I got into it. So so that type of game isn't like my cup of tea. But when you had said the High Republic, I think like a Skyrim / Elder Scrolls style game in like the High Republic era would be like dope. Like that fully immersive open world. I feel like it kind of tees up perfectly for you to be like a up and coming Jedi. I guess you could pick a side, maybe, go Jedi, Sith, or whatever story you could like, follow a path and go that way. But I think that would be dope too. I know we're kind of getting that with the new game that's coming out, but I know you're like a smuggler in that, and I can't remember the name of it at all.
Oh, you're talking about Star Wars Outlaws. Yeah.
That shit looks fire.
It does look really cool, but you are locked into that character. Yeah. It's a canon story, and I really appreciate how seriously they're taking the video games in terms of how it connects to the story. But I would say that Star Wars is something that really unlocked my imagination as a child. So being able to create my own characters in this space has always been something that I really find a lot of fun in.
Having an open Star Wars game is a great start, though. Like it's
for sure.
You can't throw everything at the same time. I'm sure like the next step will probably be an open world game where a character can be more customizable. You get to pick your character. I would imagine.
Yeah, and I would say that like Jedi Survivor was like the Jedi style of that, and this is the smuggler style of that, and maybe we'll get a bounty hunter game.
But Jedi Survivor is like open world adjacent.
That's true. There are definitely paths it wants you to take, but what you were able to do on Kobo was like,
that was
been expansive.
Yeah, I kept going back to Kobo even when I didn't have to. I was like, so many things I need to unlock here. But yeah, such a great game. Shout out to Jordan, friend of the podcast, Jordan Harris. He finally got Jedi Survivor. He's been playing it.
And he's been to tune into this. We didn't spoil anything yet.
No. I've been checking in on him every couple of days. Like, what part are you at now? What part are you at now? What part are you at now?
My brother also just got it, and I've been doing the same thing. I'm like, have you gotten here yet?
So when I talk
moments and go ahead.
I know exactly what you're gonna say. So funny enough, because we were talking about So when he had first started playing it, because he got it for his birthday present. So when he had first started playing it, it was literally, I was at his house when he like started the game, and he was like, oh, this is a lot. This is like sensory overload. And it made me think about the part that I know is your favorite part, which I won't say because he might listen to this episode.
Yeah.
And I just said to him, I was like, just wait, because there's a part that you're gonna like have a fucking panic attack.
I've been waiting for my brother to get there because it is such a fun sequence, and you and I have talked about it. And when we eventually,
so good,
we should do we might have to do multiple episodes on Survivor because
I'm down. I'm all the way down.
It's a large game with an expansive story, crisscross, so many twists and turns. But that moment in particular for me was like, it cracked my top 10 Star Wars moments.
Could you imagine that part with air? Could you imagine that part in like a game that blew air at you?
Absolutely not.
That'd be crazy.
Absolutely not.
You definitely would fuck up every time. Like, God, dude, so much happening.
I would be like, where's my controller? Right.
Word. But
I need something to ground me.
Big fact. He's at the part where he's fighting the Ravis. Where he's fighting him. I fucking hated that fight.
I hate that fight, but I'm so glad that bounty hunter is like, he's like Dirge.
He's amazing.
Yeah. That race like was almost like forgotten by Star Wars because they couldn't animate Dirge for the Clone Wars show.
Right.
It was just too much. Like they didn't have the budget for it, which is why Cad Bane got created. So like, I'm not that upset. I love Cad Bane.
Human holocron, baby.
But Dirge himself being a Gundai, and them being able to like pull their fucking limbs back together is just such a cool concept.
And he was such a great character. Like a villain with morals, like a moral code.
That's one thing you cannot say about any character in the Star Wars Fallen Order and Survivor games. They all have good motivations, are fleshed out pretty well.
Super fleshed out.
Like the story just gets more compelling as you go.
Yep. Yeah. Big facts. But yeah, he's at that fight, and I was just like, oh yeah, that, because I'm a bit of a masochist when it comes to video games, and I always like intentionally play it on the hardest level to start because I'm like, all right, this is gonna take me a while so I can enjoy it more and whatnot, what have you. So I was like, that fight almost made me put the level down. Bro, it took me like, it had to take me like at least 10 times. Like to finally beat him, and I was getting frustrated. Like I had to step away from it for a second. I was like, I
have several friends that will laugh at me for this, but I found 4 stims throughout my playthrough because I thought that they were all in the character cosmetic boxes and not their own.
Oh yeah, Bryce. I had mad stims. You only had 4 the whole game?
The whole game.
You're a madman, bro.
Well, I'm not really a madman because I only played on Jedi Knight, so.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
It was a casual gaming experience.
Yeah, and I had like 8 of them things.
Killing the Rancor was not fun for with only 4 stims.
Yeah, that wasn't a fun one. I had to, because I remember when you were telling me, because I think that part wasn't spoiled for me per se, but I knew there was a Rancor coming off like a screen of a scroll on YouTube that I seen. So all right, and that's not like a major part that like, oh my god, why did I know this was happening? But yeah, but like the first time you have the option to fight the Rancor, I definitely had to like come back later. I was like, yeah, nah, he's fucking me up. Like, I'm gonna come back later date, fight this Rancor. And then I came back and I slayed his ass.
Yeah, slay his ass, dude.
Got him real good.
What was your preferred?
My stances. So I used blaster stance, the one with the gun, and trying to remember.
Dual wield?
Yes, yeah. Do like the two separates, not the together. Yeah.
Shout out to Paul who might tune into this. I know he's a big cross guard guy.
I couldn't get into it. I could not wait to like take it off after like you have to when you have to use it that one part. Mm-hmm. I was like, all right, I just was hacking to get out of it. I was like, all right, get the shit off me.
It's I guess people who like the Dark Souls games were like big fans of that because it felt similar, like because you're waving around this heavy sword. Also, sorry if you haven't gotten there, Jordan, because I'm not intending on spoiling. But I forgot that was a thing. Hopefully, hopefully he knows.
So he's lit. So it's funny because when I had talked to him like a couple of days ago, he had like just linked back up with my mans. What's the mans that flies the mantis? Grease? Is it just Grease?
Grease.
Yeah. It's funny how we both were like Grease. I think it is just Grease. So he had just like linked back up with him, and they were like going to they found Z in the rubble and shit. And then when I had talked to him today or yesterday, he was like, yeah, I'm about to fight. That was today actually. He's like, I'm about to fight Revis. I was like, oh shit, you got far.
Yeah.
And he said all I've been doing is playing this game.
I don't blame him. It's a fucking fun ass game. It sucked you in.
Big facts. Super big facts.
Well, it was a quick one shot here from us at Annie. Are you okay?
A Star Wars podcast, and that was an accidental tangent that stayed on topic. The range.
Hey, we did it. We did
the range.
So
we did the thing.
We didn't forget to intro ourselves this week, and I'm not going to forget to plug our other socials. You heard at the top of the pod at Annie, the letters A and I, Are You Okay? Pod on Instagram and Twitter. You can also find our sister podcast, Dragon Ball for Life, where Matt and our good friend Travis break everything down, coming out with a chapter 100 manga review of Dragon Ball Super with Miss Majin.
It's a fun one.
That's coming soon. You can check us out on socials for that at DB4L_pod on Instagram and Twitter. Yes. I swear we will be posting more. We're just very busy.
We got a team. We got a group meeting coming up.
Yeah, there's a lot of
we're gonna get it.
moving parts coming together, and then we're finally gonna fucking hit the ground running in 2024.
Big facts.
But until
that time, Animaniacs.
Tell.
Like we always say here on Annie, Are You Okay? A Star Wars podcast. It could be the prequels. It could be the sequels. It could be Dynasty Warriors. It could be Dynasty Wars. I guess. What would we call your Star Wars game? You need to give it a name. Your pod racer one. What would it be?
I feel like they always just do. It's always like a one word thing. So racer or
just pod.
Just pod. People will be confused because it's funny. Originally, in the inception of this, I wanted to call it Now This Is Podcasting. However, that was already taken.
I like that.
Kudos to them for stealing that before anybody else. But
this is pod racing.
I think it'd have to be. Yeah. It could be like Now This Is Pod Racing or Racer.
Too Pod, Too Furious.
That's a sequel.
That word when the second one comes out, bro.
Yeah.
But it could be Too Pod, Too Furious, and it could always be Ray. And there's a double entendre. Shout outs to Ray the Ruiner for her her nomination. But life can be a beach. But as long as there's no sand, y'all already know. Andy gonna be okay.
Be okay.
Bow.
May the force be with you.
And with you. Later, nerds.
Deuces.
We out.